Okay, here we are. So, I thought about this because my mom was watching a one of those History Channel shows, one of the rare shows that's actually about history, talking about cookies. And they said, well, they use Nestle brand chocolate. And you think of Nestle and the horrible treatment and the destruction of the land and the monopolization of water that they have and the cutting down of forests and everything else. I mean, it's just you know, and it's something that, how do ordinary people reconcile with these things, or with Coca-Cola, with their connections with the Nazi regime, um, or even, hell, I'm sure if you dug in, I mean, McDonald's, obviously, with their campaigns and everything else, which are much more, racialized, particularly, like, well, we're going to give, scholarships to black folks and all this. Well, they, feed people poison. And I say that knowing that I still eat McDonald's from time to time, you know. Um, how do we reconcile these things? I think it's all nice to say, well, let's all just go vegan and but a lot of people don't have that ability. A lot of people just do not have that ability. They don't. I think it'd be nice to say, yeah, well, we're gonna, or read books like How to Eat to Live, by Elijah Muhammad, although it was probably written by somebody else, and eat one meal a day and no pork and only eat these few things and this and that. You're surrounded by it, particularly in the United States. I mean, it's all it's a global thing. Not to look at it from just a Americentric point of view, but it's an international thing. Whether it's Coca-Cola selling Seven Up or whatever. Well, you know what I was going to say with Coca-Cola. Excuse me. Not just that, but also with water rights in India. You know, um, the people trying to get water for their wells from their wells aren't able to get it. You know, it's one of those things that you have to think about that really make you think. And it does go to show to a point is that, yeah, everything is politicized, everything is politics, and as much as people may portray it not to be, it is. You know, I thought about including this in another video, but I'm just too lazy. I'd rather just record it now. But you think of the evolution, for example, of how movies are. In the 1970s and 80s, depending. There were off points, but in general, bright colors, loud music. Bombastic acting. In the 90s, some of that was toned down. It was still there to a point, but it was toned down. By the early 2000s, we had kind of a nihilism that existed, a sort of, desperation that existed. And I think we're kind of still in that. It kind of speaks to where we are in the world, and how things are evolving or devolving, depending on what we want to look at. You know, it's the same thing with food. Is that, yeah, you may think to yourself, yeah, I'm glad I had a McDonald's, burger, woo. But now you're just like, I don't have enough money, so I might as well just have this burger. It's good enough, and you know, In a couple hours, it'll be out of my system, mostly, you know. And you think about what that with food, you know, is what, how it's going to affect your body, you know. It's like if you eat too many peanuts, you're going to be blocked up and you're going to be burping up that oily taste. Oh, anyway, I'm sorry to go into detail. Don't worry. It's not that type of channel. But it's something to think about. It's something to, give at least a small idea to, you know. It'd be nice for us to say, well, yeah, I'm going to eat vegetables. I'm going to become, this sort of person. And, oh, well, the thing is, though, is that people have made veganism, very elitist. And, I'm sure that, there are people like, who was it? The obnoxious anarchist and those types of folks who I'm sure are trying to change that image, or vegan anarchist, I imagine. But, well, that person's a spurg, actually. But, you know, people are trying to change that image, but it's still seen more as it wouldn't really exist without capitalism, you know. And of course, then you get into uh, your your artificially grown meats and your lab meats and all that sort of thing. And you think, well, what's going to happen to those cows? They're not going to just let them roam free. I imagine same thing with the chickens and the bison and everything else. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing here, but it's something to think about. I didn't want to make you. This isn't necessarily a moral sort of argument. It's just more of a something to think about. How do we reconcile these things? How do we answer these? Well, you know what? Let's not even say answer them. How do we change the framing? How do we look past these problems and move forward? And that's not me defending those companies. And maybe that sounded more like that sounded kind of like a marketing ploy, didn't? How do we move forward from all the evil shit that we did? But how do we make sense of it? Just food. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go with it. That's food for thought. Hopefully, y'all enjoy that. See you later, and goodbye.